We've got a great variety of topics to talk about with our auto expert, Tom Grothous, today, and a little bit of everything we could talk about here with cars and vehicles, isn't it?
I thought I'd bring up some topics that, would interest people, First off, the new guns and us old timers. As old timers, we used to use for testing electricals, we would use a test light where you'd punch a hole in a wire and then the light would come on and you know that it had electricity. And then we went to multimeters where you would see, well, I have 12 volts or do I have 9 volts or too much resistance for amperage and ohms. So now with the young guns, they're gone up and they're using computers and laptops and all of that. And some of the things that they're using is thermometers, believe it or not.
Really?
So infrared thermometers like we use for our temperature.
Okay, yes.
Well, if you want to know if a injector is working or not and that cylinder is firing right, you point an infrared thermometer at the cylinder that you're looking at. If that's colder than the rest of them, you know that cylinder isn't firing like the rest.
Right.
You don't even have to touch it.
Wow.
Another one, if you got a wire resistance or a problem in a trailer, for instance, a semi, take an infrared camera and you go along with the infrared camera, which could be the size of your telephone with an infrared camera, and you could see where the hot spot is and you know right there's the problem. So young guns, the old timers, and then it's
amazing, though, because back in the day, and I mean, we've gradually got to this, you could tinker with your car and fix your own car at home.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think there's any way you could do that.
It's really tough. And if you do it the wrong way, for instance, if you use a test light, don't use it at home, because if you use that test light, there's multi-signals going through that wire. And if you short that out, it could blow your computer.
Yeah.
And then you're talking thousands of dollars.
It's so specialized and computerized, isn't it wild?
Yeah, and then like the Consumer Electronics Show, we had John Deere, how they're having AI. Well, farmers have been using that for years, but they just haven't had any. They've always had a farmer in the cab, because where you put the fertilizer down, you wanted to know, satellite pictures would tell you where the good ground was and the bad ground, so why waste the fertilizer and the seed? So you knew all of that, and you had the farmer watching that in the seat. Well, now John Deere's saying without having as many people, we're getting rid of that guy in the seat, and consequently, farmer can be sitting at home and watching what his equipment's doing out in the field.
Right. Well, I saw where they're like, farm families are smaller now. There's not as many people working, and so they're like, if they can do multiple jobs while the tractor's out doing its thing, it is fascinating to keep a family farm together.
And think about that, the technology, the young guns that have to go do that. And then think about trying to find a babysitter to take the baby out for a stroll. Well, they got strollers now where you put the baby in and it goes.
That seemed kind of scary, though, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm a little going on that.
It's a new year. Maybe people want to go out and car shop a little bit. There are so many choices. How do you know what to pick? Electric car, a hybrid car, stick with the gas? What do you know?
And that's the choice of the individual. So if you want to buy an electric car, what's the taxes going to cost you on that? Because if it's a road use tax, right now we're getting everything through gasoline. Well, if you've got an electric-only car, you're going to pay when you buy your license plate and when you buy your title for the car. So you're going to pay every year for that. If you have a hybrid, is it going to be different? BMW is coming out with, and Dodge truck, electric hybrid. So are you going to pay for electric first when you buy the car, or are you going to pay for a hybrid like you do now with the gasoline taxes? So it's really, if you got an internal combustion engine, if you got a hybrid, or if you're buying a full electric. So what do you want?
Right,
and that's going to be the challenge for us now, buying cars. Everyday people, do I buy this? And how much taxes do I pay for road use?
Right, yeah. It is interesting the way the cars are going and the way this is all changing. Lots of changes. Interesting stuff.
Even the politicians don't know what's going on.
That's true.
That's true all the time.
All right, Tom, thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
All right, don't go away. Medical News is next on Noon Edition.